meeting agenda posted on the website.
Thanks.
Are we set?
No.
Not yet. Though I called the meeting to order, we're sort of in an informal recess until we get the technical glitches addressed.
Yeah.
We'll come out of our informal recess. It appears that the technical glitch has been corrected and that the agenda has been posted. Comment on its availability?
I see it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. We are in formal session once again. Second item on the proposed agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Vice President, if you would kindly stand and face the flag and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. First item on our agenda, then after the pledge, is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Houle. Is there support?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner. Any additions, corrections, deletions to the proposed agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as presented, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Is that everyone?
Well,
I did not call for a descending vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item is the Water System Planning Grant Opportunity, UP Engineering and Architect. Mr. Koskinimi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, as I've been talking with you, I kind of gave you a short version at the last board meeting about the grant opportunity that's out there. Eagle has come out with what they're calling a DWAM, a Drinking Water Asset Management Grant. And it covers several things.
who is speaking, please?
Jim Koskinimi from UP Engineers.
Thank you.
So the total amount that was that the state is providing is $36.5 million, of which 15 million of it is set aside for communities less than 10,000 in population. Okay, so you qualify. It's 100% grant. Okay, matter of fact, as part of the grant, the application costs to put it together and for the application are eligible for reimbursement. under the program, okay? So what does it cover? It covers asset management for your water system. And what does that mean? A lot of communities have already done this because this is a requirement of Eagle under Part 319 as far as asset management planning and what they call a general plan for water systems to have in place and then update every 5 years. So this asset management planning is basically going out and doing an inventory of everything you have for your water systems, your mains, your valves, your hydrants, your wells, any treatment you might have. You identify everything that's there, the year it was installed, the material type, manufacturers, as much information as you can collect. And then you assess all those items based on knowledge that you have of the system and maintenance records and that kind of stuff. And you say, okay, there's different factors you apply to it to come up with a criticality factor. And this criticality factor kind of prioritizes things based on what needs to be repaired first. So you come up and everything's identified, everything's put in spreadsheets. We actually have a program, a software program that we developed internally that all these spreadsheets would get fed into. And it's a menu-driven program that your operator would be able to just go through and keep actual maintenance records on it. But anything he wanted to know, he could look up by going into this database and look up a certain street. Where's the water main? What size is it? What year was it installed? Was there any maintenance on it previously? Type stuff. As part of that, once you get all that inventory done and the assessment done, they also want communities to do a computerized hydraulic model of your system, which is basically going out and modeling the system. You simulate a fire basically in different parts of the community. The whole system's in the computer, the sizes and the loops throughout with your well pressures and that. And you simulate a fire and you say, okay, there's 750 gallons a minute coming out of this hydrant. And that model will simulate what the pressures are at every joint that you have identified in that model. During a fire, you can only, you're not supposed to go under 20 PSI at the hydrant, and you're not supposed to be sucking water out of someone's house because they're drawing too much, okay? So that model identifies that. It'll identify, and then what you do with that is if there is deficiencies, you start running iterations and changing pipe sizes to eliminate those deficiencies. So once that's done, then they want you to do a 5-year and a 20-year growth projection. So you look at the community and you say, okay, in 5 years, what are your flow projections? If you had a big industry come in your case, there's probably not going to be a lot of growth. In 20 years, maybe there'll be some growth where the numbers change. So then you do a capital improvement plan, a 5-year and a 20-year from all this data, and prioritizing all of the different items that you feel are going to have to be replaced in 5 years and in 20 years, or to be upgraded to meet the flow requirements. It's an awesome tool. That's one of the really big benefits of it, because it's a planning tool. It gives you all the information you need in a database and on a map. A master map would be developed, probably surveying all the valves. Your operator's name's
Bob Backfold
mentioned to me that he would like to have all the curb stops identified. This program will pay for that. We can go out and survey those. Typically, we have the community expose them because you don't want to pay for us to go out there and dig around and trying to find curb stops for each service ladder on the water system.
Mhm.
It's a lot less expensive if the community does that, or you get students or whatever with metal detectors out there, whatever. And then we come in and survey communities. We've even had them use handheld GPS units, and they go out and survey them in as well. We can, as part of the grant application, we developed that scope of work of who's gonna do what. We've developed spreadsheets with all the different tasks that need to be done. Forced account is reimbursable. So if an employee, not a board member, but an employee of the township, like Bob, if he's working on it, his time is reimbursable once you get the grant. And even during the grant application, we're gonna have to meet with Bob. He tracks his time. That can be a reimbursement later on, if you got the money. It's typically his wage, whatever he gets, plus 40% for benefits is reimbursable. Another item that it will cover is this, what Don just referred to was the service laterals, the new lead copper rule, which a year ago, Bob sent in what's called the acronym is DSMI. It's a material inventory of all your laterals. They want to try to identify, it was preliminary. They wanted a preliminary one submitted by the end of last year, which you did. And it's to identify what service laterals might be lead. And from that submittal last year, you had 5 years to verify and officially certify that these are the ones that are lead, which means going out and potholing or going in their homes and looking, identifying which ones you think are, and actually digging down and seeing if they are. This grant will pay for that.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah. And it's 100%. So right now, the way the scoring is set up is you guys are a little behind the gun because you have not done anything on asset management. You did your materials inventory, which bodes well. That's good. But because you've not done any asset management, that's part of the scoring. Communities that have an asset management plan submitted and approved by Eagle already score higher. I asked the question, said, okay, if a community submits this application and they don't have an asset management plan, but they want to get money to do one, because it's going to be required anyway, they're not going to score very well. How is this going to work? They have 4 rounds of applications, January 1st, April 1st, and then a couple other out. But this first round is due January 1st. I recommend you get yours in by January 1st if you move forward with this. Because after that, I don't think there's going to be any money left. If there is, not going to be much. And you're going to be competing against other communities that already have this, and your score is going to be lower. Every application that's submitted, if they come in under the current $15 million for the under 10,000, you're going to get your money. You're going to get approved. I was told that they're going to, doesn't matter if you're bottom score or not. If you're within the first round, you get funded. If it doesn't exceed the current amount of dollars. So in my opinion, this is a really good thing. We've been working on these asset management plans on sewer systems and water systems, I think for the last 6 years. We've done many of them. And with this, they continued to talk about putting money into the water system. This is the first grant program they put together for the water. The sewer was huge. It was $450 million. Many communities got in on that locally, and have now really nice completed plans in place to help them manage their system. There's also can have a financial advisor come in and actually evaluate your rates against your revenues and that kind of stuff. And we could add that, but we can talk about that as we go forward. But we have a firm, it's Baker Tilly, has done all of the financial analysis for these water asset management plans. They do a great job. They have these really good spreadsheets that are very helpful in going forward to show you, okay, if you have a project projected in 5 years and it's $1 million, they'll go in and kind of show you, here's where you're at and here's where your rates would need to be. So it's just a great planning tool to help move forward on your system and not fall behind on areas that are going to have to be improved, and then how to fund them. But so, any questions?
Would this be considered like a gateway grant with, if we're successful with this, it will have the potential of leading to other funding opportunities for infrastructure development at all?
Well, the answer to that is yes, but how I would explain it, because it's happened on many of them already, is you have this capital improvement plan in place now, and you know what projects you need to do that are going to be coming up.
Mhm.
And when funding comes out, a program that comes out that will fund that, say like rural development, like you had out in Mason,
Mhm.
or if Eagle comes out with construction type money, you have your plan in place. You can say, okay, we know what we got a project. Let's go after that money instead of trying to start from the beginning. It's like, okay, do we have something we can do? You're already going to know. So you're setting yourself up to be able to jump at those opportunities as they happen. Yeah. And we've done many applications to rural development from doing an asset management plan based more so on the wastewater systems. We've got 2 of them in the city of Houghton already that followed suit, and they've been funded by rural development for 2 different phases. Working on another one in Lawrence and Carp Lake Township from follow-up from the asset management. So it's definitely a great tool for that.
Questions for Jim?
Jim.
Hey, Don.
With this grant, or maybe one in the future, I know down the line we're looking at hooking Tamarack to solid-based water system. Is that part of this, or is that part of something this will enable us to get later?
Yeah, that is something that would have to be done later. This is basically identifying everything you own and how and the condition of it, and when we project it need to be replaced, and prioritizing and coming up with a capital improvement plan to do that. So it does not include any. We could do that in the hydraulic modeling part as far as future expansion to evaluate.
And I think that's all we need to do, because what we're doing right here is fantastic. You know, this is great, something we should pursue. It was just a question as to where that might fit in later. That's all.
Yeah, that definitely, once your hydraulic model's done, you could add to it and analyze how that would all set up and as far as the connection, and you know, if you needed extra booster stations or whatever, you'd have the start of the model. And DEQ would, Eagle would require that anyway, if you decided to do that.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Krista?
No questions, but I think that in the time we've discussed water, you know, I mean, how long of a list do you have so far of things that we've identified, you know, that Aaron's contributed to, that we've put together, where we said, this needs to be fixed. We'd like to see this needs to happen. And the financial aspect of it, you know, when we were just talking about rates and stuff, I mean, this is like so comprehensive. It's a win for us, you know, because I don't have experience in water systems, so I have to take advice from people who know. I think this is like a no-brainer.
So as far as the financial aspect, you would want that in this application?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
as part of that, we would get a hold of Baker Tilly, and they would I'd have a proposal from them that would be included in the application.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Excellent. Yeah, that's
amazing.
wonderful.
That's
Is Aaron with us?
Aaron,
Yeah,
you're-
Questions, comments, concerns?
No, I know. I already know what he's proposing. I guess I've seen it in other communities, and I can't say that I mean, that it wouldn't benefit the township to have that GIS-based infrastructure program, and obviously, you know, the financial information stuff helps. I mean, I already know what we really need, but the stuff that we really need isn't something we want just to do in the future. It's something that we pretty much aren't going to have a choice on doing no matter what. So the stuff that a lot of the stuff on my list right now is just stuff that we have to do, not stuff that we would like to do. So
Those would be the high priority things that would be in your first 5-year capital improvement plan.
obviously, from what he's talking about, it could potentially identify additional issues above and beyond the stuff the fires that we're trying to talk about putting out right now. So,
Thank you. Tracy, anything?
I mean, it's fully funded. So, I mean, how can you really go wrong? I guess, you know.
One of the other things I think will be super helpful about this is, I mean, I don't want to, you don't want to speak ill of anybody, but if Bob were to just be gone tomorrow, we would be in a lot of trouble because, you know, there's nobody with the information. You know, Ron knows some of it, and I'm sure Aaron knows some of it, but there's nobody that has all of the information that Bob has.
Yeah, it's
So,
all up here.
yeah, so if we were going out
That's
to
why
like
I
hire
told Bob
somebody.
the other night,
Yeah.
I said, Bob, this program's gonna take everything you have in your head and
Yeah.
put it
Put it on
into
paper.
a computer.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. And
It
it would have helped Bob,
Yeah.
because he doesn't remember everything. I mean, it's a lot to remember, but you know, if we lost Bob for some reason, we would just be in a world of hurt. So I think this would be super
Definitely.
beneficial.
Jim, what do you need from us this evening?
Well, I have the engineering agreement for us to assist you with putting this, packaging this up and putting it together by January 1st. It's a not to exceed $5,000. I can tell you, we're not gonna get to the 5,000. I'm already working on spreadsheets for other communities that I can just roll over into this because it's a lot of the same scope.
So it'll be a maximum of
Yes.
a ceiling.
Yep, and whatever is spent, if you get, there's no guarantee you're gonna
Right.
get the money.
Right.
There's a darn good chance. But if you didn't, then you would not get reimbursed for our fees. But if you got it, you would get reimbursed.
So we're from your perspective, we have a better than even chance.
Yeah.
to-
If you're in the first round. If you wait to the second round, I'd say your odds go down to 5%.
Just get it done.
But there's no problem on it for you to get it done.
To get it
By
done by
January
January.
January 1st.
We will get it done.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Jim? Specific action you're looking for from us this evening?
Approval of the agreement.
And the specific title of the agreement is?
Assistance with application for the Eagle Drinking Water Asset Management Grant Program.
Say that one more time.
Assisting with the application for funding from Eagle Drinking Water Asset Management Grant Program. There's a lot there, sorry.
Drinking Water
I just wanna
Asset
make sure it's clear.
Management Program Grant.
Grant program.
Grant program.
Grant program.
Okay. Do I have a motion to proceed?
All motion.
Ms. Hool, is there support for the motion to proceed?
I'll support.
I'll support it.
We have a motion and supports to proceed.
Am I doing?
Any questions, comments, concerns on the motion to proceed with UP Engineering with the Drinking Water Asset Management Grant Program application? Hearing no additional comments, we'll have a roll call vote to accept their offer and expend up to $5,000. I'm assuming was incorporated into the motion for the grant application. Is that an appropriate way to phrase it?
Yes.
Have a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Jenke?
Abstain.
Okay. Mr. Wareham?
Yes,
Okay. Mr. Hopla?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everyone. The motion is approved. 4 votes in favor, 1 abstention. Thank you, Jim. Really appreciate it. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to pursue, and if successful, we will have a very important plan in place.
And one thing I forgot to mention, I'll just add it real quick.
Please add it.
If you get the grant, from the time you get the grant, you have 3 years to complete the project. But there's so much data to collect, it takes at least a couple of years, so.
Oh, wow.
So we're looking at a 2 to 3 year
Yes.
time frame in
Yes.
which to complete the project under the grant.
Jim, just so you know, some of those things that we have out there, I'm not sure can wait 2 to 3 years.
That's gonna be part of your general maintenance operation that you're gonna have to continue. That happens in every community. There's things out there they just gotta jump on. Yep, understood.
But it still can be a part, if I may dovetail on Aaron's comment, part of our 5-year capital improvement plan.
Oh, yeah.
It all go in there.
Oh, when did they award the grants?
But the first round should be awarded by March.
So we'll know in the spring.
Middle of March, yeah.
With a hopeful successful application with it being known to us by the middle of March 2021.
That's what they're projecting right here, yeah. March 15th.
And you said round 2 applications begin on April 1st?
April 1st, and they're awarded by June 15th. But
Okay.
the big gray area there is there gonna be any money left after
Right.
the first
Right.
round?
I think this is badly needed in all over, so.
Any additional questions of Jim? Thank you very much for giving up your Tuesday evening and joining us here.
No problem.
I'm pleased that we have made the decision that we've made to go forward with this planning opportunity in concert with you. Continue our longstanding
need
relationship.
a
There are some
signature
documents that
on
you'll need signature on
Yeah.
in a moment.
It's actually two copies, one for you and one for us.
All right, I will sign them as we move on in our agenda to item number 5, FOIA review.
Yes.
Christie had some thoughts on what we might want to look at down the road and wanted to bring it to the board's attention. if I
Yes,
recall correctly.
we had been looking through our FOIA information. I don't know if you guys remember back in, I believe 15, we put together, I don't even remember what the form was called. At any rate, it needs to be revisited and updated. So we're going to be working on that and probably looking for some feedback from the board. But we'll be rolling through all those again soon.
Any questions of Krista? So an item, this is a heads up in
It's just
essence.
an informational, yeah.
Thank you very much. We've reached the public comment section of the agenda. If anyone present or participating by phone or via Zoom would like to provide comment to the board, the floor will be yours for up to 3 minutes. If you'd like to comment, please identify yourself at the outset, please, and you may begin.
Hi, this is Cindy Barth. If this had to do with a special meeting about water, was Bob Matfolk there, and why not?
Bob is not present. He was present at the board meeting last week when the issue was first raised, and I am aware of conversations that took place post-meeting to alert him to and obtain his participation in the process, should the board choose to go forward. But Bob is not with us this evening, but he is fully aware of what we are discussing tonight.
Thank you. And my second question is, What made this a special meeting that couldn't be discussed at a regular meeting?
From my perspective personally, and I think the board shares it, is we have a rather tight time frame in which to complete the application process. And in order to do so, we need to begin movement on that should we have, as we did choose to go forward. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is not until the second week of December, which would have compressed the time frame into the holiday season and probably would not have permitted us to complete the application in a timely fashion. By approving it this evening, it gives us the balance of this month and all of December to complete the application for submission. That's my understanding based on the conversation last week. But thank you for the question.
Mark, just to tack on to Cindy's question, was there something that prevented it from being discussed last week?
The information just came home.
The information, we had limited information at last week's board meeting. And for example, we were under the initial impression based on original information that if we were a successful grantee applicant, we would not have gotten reimbursed for the cost of the agreement with UP Engineering. Now it appears that after a review of material, or perhaps new material that has come in, that if we are a successful applicant, we will be reimbursed for the cost for the preparation of the application in concert with UP Engineering. So additional information, and that is a key point for us in that we needed a little bit of time to search to see where the revenue would come from, knowing that we have a very good chance of being successful in the time frame still available, and the probability that when successful, we will get our investment back. It seemed beneficial for us to take the time necessary to gather additional information, look for resources, and then put ourselves in a better position this evening than last week to address the process going forward.
And is the agreement that you guys made, is it in writing or was it just verbal, the go ahead with UP Engineering?
Right.
It's in writing and was presented to us this evening for signature.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I have a public comment as well. I don't know if there's anybody else. Looks like it's just Cindy and I. So Cindy, were you done with yours?
You'll have up to 3 minutes.
Okay. So to start with what you guys just discussed, I would, it's a very interesting, this water assessment. One feedback would be that if there's costs that could be incurred by property owners, it would be helpful to message that to the community. I noticed 3 things in the presentation about curb stops, lead laterals, and then the possibility of higher rates for future projects. So how you message that is helpful for the community to understand if they're, what those impacts could be from getting all of this information put together. My next comment is on the, has to do with the meeting information. Both for this meeting and the last meeting, I did not receive timely responses to requesting the meeting information beforehand. I was able to find it for the last meeting online beforehand, but nobody wrote me back to say that the packet was online. And I am sharing information with the community. It would be a big help if I could get timely responses on the information for those that are following it or might be interested in attending. So that's a piece of feedback there. And then I do have a comment on my request for information in regards to blight and junk cars and dangerous buildings and ordinance violations in general. Cindy and I have both made some requests to the township and we're not getting timely responses back. I have 3 things in particular. One is an August 30th email from Cindy where she inquired as to the status of an October 2019 blight complaint that was submitted to the township. I haven't seen any information back on that. The next one is an August 26th information request. It had 4 questions in it that I requested regarding 2019 and 2020 blight and junk cars activity within the township. That was information that was requested. And then on October 20, and on that one, I haven't received any responses back that pertain to the information itself, only some promises of future information, but no answers. And then on October 23rd, I submitted a FOIA request and requested records from 2016 to 2020. That was an actual records request, and that one is outstanding, and I have not received a response back that complies with the FOIA requirements. So I'm not sure what's happening with trying to get just clear answers to the requests, but it would be greatly appreciated to have these followed up on. The township is currently requesting citizen input into ordinances, and I don't understand why it's so difficult. Mark, I did receive your voicemail, and I did review the recording from last week and was able to get the 5-minute update that you provided. And I appreciate the report that you're putting together. So that's appreciated. I would request to get some actual responses as we go along when Cindy and I make requests to the township. So I do hope to hear back on these. That's my comment.
If I may, Kristen, I appreciate your comments and understand the timelines, and a response is in the works. In fact, the draft has been prepared. It is going through an editing and review. My hope is to have it out to you, if not by Friday, by Monday. I have had, for point of reference and information, I needed clarity on a couple of the questions. I've spoken with past township officials about information sought, and asked them if, for their standpoint, if they could recollect how they responded in a certain circumstance, and I'm incorporating that into my response. I've also been playing phone tag and had a brief conversation with the township's attorney relative to information in response to the request and formatting thereof. So I'm almost done with it. I apologize for the delay, but my intent is to have it out to you within about 3 to 5 working days at the latest. I do not hunt, so deer season is not an issue for me. And I do plan on being in the office on Thursday morning to complete my draft and look at the input I received to incorporate it into the response.
And thank you, Mark.
It should be sufficient to address all the issues that you raised in all of your comments. That's my hope.
And I greatly appreciate that on the report. I would say outstanding is the actual records were requested, and that doesn't require anything besides, scanning, finding and scanning to provide the records themselves. The report is very interesting, and I await that. Some of the questions were pretty simple, I think, and could have at least gotten an interim real response. And the records themselves, just the records were requested. So I just want to close with that, and I do look forward to your report.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Did Don have something?
Don?
Nope, nothing.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for participating in the special meeting of the Osceola Township Board. Those of you participating via Zoom, thank you very much for your participation and for the input under public comment. Anything else to come before the board before we call a motion to adjourn?
I have a question on the Osceola voting. Is that able to be asked at this meeting, or do I have to call in by phone?
I'll try and answer it quick.
What kind of markers were used for the voting?
What do you mean?
Red, I'm sorry, black ink, blue ink, and Sharpies?
What the precinct down here in Dollar Bay used ink pens. Calumet used ink pens, and Tamarack City used felt tip pens. It was just
Okay.
their preference.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. No red. Nothing red. There is no red pen.
That was my mistake on the red. I
Yeah.
meant blue pen, black pen, or Sharpies or felt tip.
Yeah, there was
But
no
Osceola
Sharpies. No
Osceola
Sharpies.
just used ink,
Ink.
blue or black ink.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
If there is nothing else, again, thank you very much for your participation. Motion to adjourn is in order.
No motion.
Ms. Hool, is there support?
Support.
Mr. Jenke, all in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye.
Right.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We stand adjourned.
Thank you.